moving on. Just another thing I wanted to point out on the Collider interview with JJ Abrams we talked about earlier. So a quote from him is, "Having a plan, I have learned, in some cases the hard way, is the most critical thing because otherwise you don't know what you're setting up."
Really, really,
Oh,
JJ.
yeah. You don't know what to emphasize because if you don't know the inevitable of the story, inevitability, maybe you're
Maybe.
just as good as your last sequence or effect or joke or whatever, but you want to be leading to something inevitable. End quote. Thanks for that, JJ. At least
Yes.
you said it. You know, we're all
Yeah.
thinking it. He
He's
said it.
acknowledging. He's
Thank
acknowledging
you.
it.
Thank you. Another quote here.
Yeah.
Sometimes when it's not working out, it's because it's what you planned. And other times when it's not working out, it's because you didn't have a plan. End quote.
Yeah. And so here's my takeaway from that
Mm-hmm.
quote, that second quote that I really just wanted to go ahead and get knocked out. I think that not having a plan, I get in a sense that sometimes when you anchor yourself to a plan, maybe what has played out doesn't really flow with that plan anymore. I think that leans itself more so toward television, though, and especially not a pre-existing, he used that term last week,
Yeah.
a pre-existing franchise that the world knows. It's a pop culture icon.
Mm-hmm.
People know the ways of the Force. They know what this Jedi Sith thing is. Like, I don't know. You got to have a plan with bigger things. I get that you don't want to anchor yourself to it, but at least an outline.
I mean, and we have to remember that JJ didn't just do Star Wars. I mean, this
Mhm.
dude has done some big stuff in his career. So this is kind of a broad statement for him to say. We focus in on, oh yeah, no crap, Star Wars, but Lost is one I
That's
go
true.
to,
Yeah.
right? One of my favorite shows of all time. But you talk about the plan of that show; it's insane. So I want to open that up to, I know this is a Star Wars podcast, that's what we're focusing on, but JJ has done a lot, and him just calling it out, and I'm just happy to see that he's saying, look guys, yeah, you know, we should have had a plan.
Yeah.
We should have had a plan on whatever he's talking about, whether it's Lost or a TV show or is it Super 8, is that what he's done?
Super 8. Yes.
Yeah, or any of these things. It's good to have a plan. And
Mhm.
okay, maybe it doesn't work out because that's what you planned, but at least you had a plan, and at least you tried, and at least you were ready instead of just flying by the seat of our pants. So I just thought it was good to call out here these more detailed quotes, because I'm just happy to see JJ living it up and saying, "Look, guys,
Yeah.
yeah, it helps to have a
100%.
plan."
And I
Um,
think the company again is expressing that they have learned that lesson with
mhm.
the continued hire of these different individuals, specifically Dave Filoni getting that promotion
Yeah,
of directed, or what is it again?
executive
Executive.
creative director.
There you go.
Yeah, ECD.
There you
But
go.
I wanted to note, I don't think we talked about it last week, but he's not the only executive creative director. There's a
Correct.
couple other people that do the artist kind of stuff, the imagery, is that right? And then there's
Mhm.
one who does something else. So I know I said captain of the ship last week, and I
Yeah.
still fall in that mindset, but we have to remember that they have learned their lesson, folks.
Mhm.
I truly believe they've learned their lesson. If they're getting these major people in these executive creative director roles based on like segments of the company,
Right.
great call, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think they're getting the talent. So they're dividing out the
It's a
talent.
top down
There
approach.
you
We're going
go.
to have
Yeah.
a guy that we can call on that is going to make the call. He's willing to make the call and say, yes, that's Star Wars. Yes, that's great. No, that sucks. That's not Star Wars, whatever it answer is.
Whether
So,
that's story, design, filming it, all of those different
exactly.
things.
Each piece of the puzzle, because it's hard to make a movie. It's
Yes.
hard to make a TV show. It's hard to make a movie. I know it's easy for us to watch it and talk on the show and critique the crap out of it. It's
Yeah.
really hard to do. So we have to keep that in mind as well. I think people forget that a lot, especially, I'm going to go where I go with video games.
Hmm.
Making a video game is freaking hard, man. especially a good one, because it's years of your life. And with movies too, it's years of your life. You create this art piece, put it out, and then you get clowns like me who go, "This sucks. I know nothing about it. This is horrible. I played it for 5 minutes and it's trash."
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
it's a reality of the arts, I guess. So moving on, third one, last news segment of the day, short and sweet here, worth bringing up, but not too much to dig into. Zack Snyder pitched a Star Wars movie to Lucasfilm prior to The Force Awakens that was actually inspired by Seven Samurai. Now, Keller,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
number one, who's going to buy this movie if he ever does mix it up? Because he is reworking the project to make it more sci-fi,
Right.
but no one's really picked up on it yet. So, number one, who buys it if they do? Number two, do we even want this dude touching Star Wars?
So number one, I do think there's a potential of Netflix buying this idea, depending upon how Army of the Dead goes, because Zack Snyder just released that film on Netflix. I believe it was this past week.
I think so.
I think it's getting mostly like positive.
It's like middle of the road,
like middle.
on the upper end, I believe, of
Yeah.
average. So
If Netflix wants to keep going down this track of like capitalizing on this whole Snyder cut wave of just noise online, and they want to keep pulling in numbers, I think picking up this project would be a great idea. And by the way, if Netflix, definitely not Warner Brothers or any of the other studios out there, picks this idea up, it's not going to have lightsabers. It's probably going to be
that's
like
right.
Swords instead.
I wanted to bring that up too,
Right.
if you
Because
didn't talk about it, because
they can't pull that.
it ain't Star Wars.
Right.
But what does that mean? Like just change some stuff out and it's not Star Wars anymore. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But
Right.
it's still sci-fi. So I
that'd
think
be
that's what
interesting.
they mean by reworking the project, aka sucking the trademark stuff out, the copyright stuff out, and
Yeah.
and reworking it. But second question is, do you want him touching Star Wars, man?
No, I do not.
Yeah.
And that is
Yeah.
from me, I'm somebody that actually doesn't mind his Man of Steel, his
Mhm.
Batman v Superman,
Mhm.
his Snyder cut that just came out on HBO Max. Like, they're fun for me. It's not Star Wars, so I don't dive too deep into it, and I'm not
Mhm.
super critical of it. As long as I have fun watching a movie outside of Star Wars, I'm okay with it. So, but no, I don't want him to touch Star Wars.
I'll answer as well. No, please. I don't. I don't want a black and white, dark and dreary,
Slow motion.
slow mode Star Wars. Now, I've talked about wanting a rated R kind of darker thing. I don't want the Snyder darkness. I
Yeah.
just don't. And not that he's a bad filmmaker. Again, I'm right there with you. I actually like the Snyder cut. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Batman v Superman's okay. Man of Steel was pretty good, I thought.
Mhm.
Better than it gets credit for. And
Mhm.
I think it's recently getting the show gets more love out there. I'm happy to see that.
I
But
think so.
so like I said, short and sweet on Zack Snyder. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Do you want Zack Snyder touching Star Wars? Drop it in the comments. Let us know. Be honest. Let it out, because you heard our take. We don't. And if you do, tell us why. So